it in the clip. It's like, oh yeah, sure, he's covered in bruises, this prisoner they've captured. He's covered in bruises from torture. Well, that was from his previous captors. You know, look, they're friendly. The rebels are friendly. They're giving him a cigarette. Let's not cast judgment on the fact that they're about to force the guy to blow himself into 1,000,000 pieces. Look, they're giving him cigarettes. They're nice. They're friendly. And then the New York Times reporters who were there witnessing all this claim, they had no knowledge of what was going on. And you can believe them. You can trust them, New York Times. And then there's the behavior of these rebels. I mean, every time I see these rebels in these YouTube videos, they're just engaging in the most flagrant, embarrassing hypocrisy imaginable. You know, it shows them riling through the possessions of this guy whose apartment they've just commandeered, sneering at photos of his kids. And then they say, look at this guy living in luxury. What an infidel. And then the next clip is them frolicking around in his damn swimming pool. I mean, just complete hypocritical morons. And so not only is, you know, Al-Qaeda helping them carry out terror attacks in Syria, but now they're forcing unwitting prisoners to become suicide bombers on their behalf. These are the good guys, remember? Your taxpayer dollars going to fund all this. So they're fear-mongering about Iran, as we're going to see in a minute. Iran's going to carry out terror as a reprisal against America and the West trying to overthrow Assad. But these guys, with your taxpayer dollar funds, they're making prisoners carry out suicide bombing attacks. And I guess it's fortunate that, you know, these rebels have proven themselves to be all but actually useless and pathetic in fighting the actual war. And that's why the CFR now, as we saw a couple of weeks ago, is lavishing praise on Al-Qaeda, saying, you know, they bring leadership to the rebels. They bring discipline to the rebels. And by the looks of it, they need it because they're nothing short of pathetic. They try and get a guy to kill himself in a suicide bombing, and then they can screw up the detonation. It doesn't work. There's actually another video which I saw of a captured Syrian soldier who's being forced to make this video by Syrian rebels. They're going to make him kill himself by the looks of it. And he's already got the bomb there in front of him. He just blows himself up and takes them all out. But the bottom line is that Obama is now openly funding people, rebels, freedom fighters, democratic activists, they used to call them, who force prisoners to become suicide bombers. And you're paying for it. It's your tax money that's going towards it. Now they're talking about Stinger missiles being sent via the CIA to these rebels. You know, just democratic activists with Stinger missiles. And you'll also probably pay for the, you know, the convenient chemical weapon attack that gets blamed on Assad later down the line and then provides the pretext for the no-fly zone and the NATO troops. But just remember, you know, these are the good guys now. This terrorism's good because it's funded by our governments. Staying with global news now, the London Telegraph. Iran's supreme leader orders fresh terror attacks on West. Iran's supreme leader has ordered the country's Revolutionary Guards to intensify its campaign of terror attacks against the West and its allies in retaliation for supporting the overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad in Syria. According to Western intelligence officials, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei gave the order to the elite Quds Force unit following a recent emergency meeting of Iran's National Security Council in Tehran, held to discuss a specially commissioned report into the implications for Iran of the Assad regime's overthrow. So in other words, the CIA needs to distract from the fact that it's arming Al-Qaeda terrorists in Syria with Stinger missiles in an effort to overthrow Assad. So it's claiming, and this is a claim, this isn't a quote, it's just a claim from Western intelligence officials, that Iran is intensifying its campaign of terror in the West. Meanwhile, Al-Qaeda is busy in Syria carrying out dozens of terror attacks, you know, killed 200 people so far, injured thousands. And the Pentagon's own internal memos that were leaked as part of the WikiLeaks Stratfor data dump exposed the fact that they were planning terror attacks in Syria. So they're pointing the finger all day long at Iran, when their own internal memo saying that that's their tactic. The Pentagon is to direct terror attacks inside Syria. And the quote from the memo, this is going back to March, we had the article on this, but people forget this. Quote, this is what the Pentagon wants to do in Syria a year ago. Now look what they've done to it. Quote, commit guerrilla attacks, assassination campaigns, try to break the back of the Alawite forces, elicit collapse from within. So commit guerrilla attacks, assassination campaigns, that's terrorism. That's what the Pentagon said it was going to do a year ago. So they're pointing the finger at Iran for preparing terror attacks against the West in a retaliation against Western efforts to overthrow Assad. While the CIA and Al-Qaeda are in Syria right now, helping the rebels carry out terror attacks in an effort to overthrow Assad. It's ridiculous. They're blaming Iran for doing it, and they're doing it already. And Iran hasn't even been behind any terror attacks in the West. And these newspapers, like the Telegraph, you know, they're really enthusiastic when it comes to printing scary headlines based on anonymous, made-up BS about Iran or what Iran plans to do. But they seem a little less eager to report on the admitted Al-Qaeda terrorists that were airlifted into Syria by NATO, which are already, as we've documented, as Rand Corporation, the CFR, the Guardian newspaper, and everybody else admits, are already carrying out terror attacks inside Syria. So again, the height of hypocrisy in pointing the finger at Iran for behavior that's already happening under the auspices of the Syrian rebels and that was planned by the Pentagon over a year ago in their own memos where they said they would carry out terror attacks. Very rich indeed. Moving on, Monsanto shells out $4.2 million to sabotage California GMO labeling initiative. This is Ethan A. Huff out of Natural News. California has the unique opportunity to be the first state in the union to require that genetically modified organisms, GMOs, be properly identified and labeled on most food items. The Monsanto company, one of the biggest purveyors of GMOs, and several other factory food and agriculture corporations are trying to sabotage this effort by contributing millions of dollars to defeat a ballot proposition that would require mandatory GMO labeling. If passed, Proposition 37, known as the California Right to Know Genetically Engineered Food Act, will require that all foods made with or containing GMOs, including both raw and processed foods, be labeled as such when sold at the retail level. Products made with or containing GMOs will also be prohibited from being marketed and sold as natural, a highly deceptive practice that has become quite common today. So Prop 37 is basically the straw that's going to break the camel's back on this GMO stranglehold. Once California goes, if they pass this, so goes the rest of the nation. And remember, you know, every single country in the EU, and even the likes of Russia and China, are forced by law to label GMO food as exactly that, but not in America or Canada. Is it a surprise, therefore, that, you know, obesity levels are going through the roof in those countries? So as Monsanto is kicked out of European countries, they're desperately trying to cling on to this monopoly in the United States and Canada by funding to the tune of millions of dollars lobbyists to try and shoot down this Prop 37 initiative. And there's actually a link in the article which tells you who else is funding efforts to block Prop 37 as well as Monsanto. And, you know, it's the usual suspects. It's PepsiCo, Nestle, Kellogg Company, Hershey Company, Ocean Spray. Because they don't want Americans to know that the GMO trash that they put in the food and then don't tell anyone about is killing them. That's why they're prepared to spend a lot of money to ensure that Prop 37 is crushed, because it's a massive threat to their financial monopoly and their genetically modified food monopoly in America. So basically, you need to get behind Prop 37 in California, boycott these companies that are on the list who are funding lobbyists to oppose it, and just feel satisfied, basically, that this story really represents another example of how we're winning on the health front. And it's one of the major frontiers of our victory. So if we can get this through in California, this Prop 37, then it's going to be a massive victory against the likes of Monsanto and all these other corporations that try and stop it. In closing now, urge you again to subscribe to PrisonPlanet.tv. Of course, you're probably watching this on YouTube, as a lot of people do, but it's broadcast live the previous night before it goes on YouTube, so you can watch it streaming live. Of course, live Alex Jones show, archives, video files, speeches, special reports, It's all there. It's been going, what, 8-9 years now at PrisonPlanet.tv, and it's the same price, $5.95 for a month. You can get the 15-day free trial, so you can try it all out with no commitment. And it helps support this network. It helps pay for everything. Basically, we need you to keep going. So it's PrisonPlanet.tv. Subscribe today. PlanetInfowars.com is, of course, our brand new social networking website where you can get together with like-minded people to arrange activist projects, work on special events. There's a dating section, and basically just connect with people in your area. It's like a Facebook for truthers, but we don't spy on you at the same time. And it's PlanetInfowars.com. Again, completely free to sign up. And of course, very exciting today was the launch of INFOWARS magazine, which you can get a digital copy of for free at infowars.com/newsletter. If you just put your email in, you will be sent a digital copy of that magazine. And of course, we've sent it out for free across the whole of Austin, basically. It's a free magazine that people in Austin can pick up. But we also got an offer on the website, InfoWarsShop.com, which is 10 copies for $9.95. And this was so popular that they actually ran out of all the magazines within 24 hours, but they've got more on order. So if you go to InfoWarsShop.com, you can get a copy of InfoWars magazine. And of course, it's another great activist tool. We're going back to the roots of the Gutenberg press. It's print 2.0. It can't be censored by the internet shutdown. So you can get your copy for free by signing up for the newsletter at infowars.com/newsletter, or get 10 copies for just $9.95 to give out to people at InfoWarsShop.com. Coming up after the break, Rob Dew is going to interview the creator of the TSA song, Henry Dillard, with his band Without a Face. And this is not only a satirical song, but it's actually really professionally done. A slant against the TSA. Be careful if you're playing it on your iPod while you're traveling through the airport, because they might treat you as a terrorist, as we saw earlier with the anti-TSA T-shirt. But after the break, Rob Dew interviews Henry Dillard. So stay tuned on InfoWars Nightly News.
I really enjoy it when the globalists try to poison us, and, well, we resist them via a free market system. Hello, my fellow Info Warriors. Alex Jones here, introducing you to the ProPure family of gravity-fed filters. Now, you know that the globalists are filling our water with radioactive isotopes, fluoride, lead, mercury, arsenic. And one of the few systems that can efficiently and economically remove or reduce down to non-detectable levels these poisons are gravity-fed filters. And ProPure is the top of the line. Their filters are impregnated with silver, a natural antibiotic. On top of that, they're bigger, so they filter faster. You don't have to prime these the first time you use them. It's amazing. Go to Infowars.com and click on the shopping cart link to see the entire family of these babies. Now, the fluoride they add to our water is so tiny that most filters can't cut it out. But ProPure has their system that will, again, reduce it to non-detectable levels, almost get all of it out of there. That's also available. And if you look at the different systems they offer, the ProPure Big Brush Finish